What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So, welcome to Tuesday's episode. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my words. So, if you have not already, please go back and listen to Monday, where we talk about how the U.S. Is probably not ready, critical infrastructure wise, for cyber attack, as well as um, the rest of this week will probably be dealing with a lot of that as well, to include our throwback. So definitely tune in for that. Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursday's throwback, and then Fridays everything else: movies, books, games, which also seem to be dealing with cyber attacks. So there it is. Without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
That's where art imitates life, right? That's what it is, right? That's why. But this article actually comes from bleepingcomputer.com and it's written by Sergey Gatlin. And the title is U.S. Nuclear Research Lab Data Breach Impacts 45,000 People. So it's not as bad as it sounds, right? Now, I say this because you see nuclear in the title and you're like, what? No, the data breaches for personnel that worked for the Idaho National Laboratory, right? Which still is not good. I'm not trying to say that's good by any means, but it's not like nuclear codes got put out there, right? Like that stuff is still segregated and not out there. We hope, right? To where it's something that got hacked and another country, another nation state has access over it. But the what's happening in this one, the Idaho National Laboratory confirmed attackers stole personal information of more than 45,000 individuals after breaching its cloud-based Oracle HR management platform last month. So it's HR things that are happening or that are breached, right? And so this Idaho National Laboratory is one of 17 U.S. Department of Energy national laboratories. And they say U.S. Department of Energy because that's who is in control of the nuclear. I don't want to say arsenal, right? That sounds kind of threatening, but the nukes in America is the Department of Energy that's kind of in control of those. But the laboratories employ 6,100 researchers and support staff, which were involved in this breach, right? So information that was stolen, right? Name, social security numbers, salary information, and banking details. So even though they don't have the nuclear codes like what is shown in the movie, right? Because that's how it always happens. It's in the movies, they got the nuclear codes, right? Like that's not what happened here. But here's where this is still a little troubling, right? So these people working for the Idaho National Laboratory, they're going to have access to some things, right? Not things that you can get regularly over the internet or whatever, but they're going to have access to things. So mind you, it is support staff as well, right? So it's probably some administrative assistants in there, janitors, whatever, but people that are actually doing research. What this leaves open is the ability for them to be compromised, right? Like if you have family member data as well, right? Because that's one of the things they also mention in here is like some of the information for family, because when you work for a company, right, like you put your family's information down. Yes, this is my wife, she received my benefits, if I should die or anything like that. So these people have become targets now to where they could be targeted by some type of nation state to say, hey, we know this about you, or we know this, that, and the third. We have all this information. Either cooperate and spy for us, right? Or we're going to do some harm or release some information you don't want released, right? So they've become compromised in that aspect, right? Granted, again, having your social security number out there and whatnot is not a good thing, right? But it's to the point where we're doing this often enough now. I don't think there's a person living in the United States that doesn't have their information out there in some type of database on the dark web or wherever, right? Like there's up for sale somewhere, right? Even the young babies that are just being born, like their social security numbers, they're getting all types of credit racked up in their name. You know what I mean? At 1 month old, it seems like at this point, because it's just happening so very often. But the people, these employees for this laboratory becoming a target is a real threat, right? Like that's again, I hate to say it like this and sound insensitive to their plight of having their data breached, but the fact that they could now be used to be an insider threat or to commit espionage for another country, that's the bigger threat to me. But again, right, like, so this is where this information was outsourced to someone else to control it for them, right? Because it was what did it say it was, cloud-based Oracle HR, what I say, HR system. I'm trying to find it again. But Yeah, HR management platform, right? So it's not something they were doing in house; it was outsourced to somebody else, and this is what happened, right? So we're seeing this all the time, and it's like I don't want to be desensitized to it, but it's kind of like, was this the one where when you sent it, I was like, yeah, more of the same? Was that this one?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, more of the
It was this
same,
one.
right? Like because it's just what it is, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point to try to make these companies do better, right? And it could be they're doing everything that they could do, right? But this is how the game works. Like whenever you get better at your defenses, somebody has to figure out a better offense to try to figure things out. And that's probably what happened in this instance, right? So I shouldn't always assume that these companies aren't doing what they should be doing, right? But there are instances where it comes out if they do the report, yeah, they were lazy, right? But I don't know for sure in this one. But yeah, this information is going to be out there. It's going to be leaked. Again, these people are going to be, you know, uh, targets. You know what I mean to try to commit espionage. But yeah, they even put a post out there. The group that hacked them, it says like, hey, this is what we got, right? We got your full name, date of birth, email address, phone number, social security number, address, employment info, right? Which that's another thing. That's another thing that could spark some infighting, right? So like you were kind of talking about this movie previously that you recently watched that we'll get into on Friday, but financial data is one of those things that could also cause some issues, right? Because if you have two people doing the same job and then it come to find out they're not making the same amount of money, like that can cause some dissension in the ranks too, right? Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be blaming the person really, right? Because they don't know what you're making, you don't know what they're making, but you're mad at them, right? Like you should be mad at the company, right? Like address it with them, like give me a raise or match me or whatever. But this is where some more dissension can happen. But like I said when you sent it, man, more of the same. You know what I mean? But what's your thoughts on this, Ryan?
Yeah, I like how you touched on the second and third order effects. Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it as well. Like it's not that this sensitive information was released with no ransom or anything. So I guess that's the MO of this gang is they're more of the hacktivist side, right? They're just like we hacked it. Here's the stuff. You know, we will spill the beans. They don't ask for money or anything like that, which is not in my opinion not more noble. It just even it's just as annoying. Like I don't I think they all have different codes of conduct, right? And they think that this one is the most chivalrous, right? Like we hack to hack. Like, okay, well, I guess. Um, but at the end of the day, like you still made these people uncomfortable, right? Um, like you said, like having that sensitive information out there is no good. But on top of it, it's the the ability to get the second or third hack out of it, right? Like now this information can be given to another company who could craft good phishing emails to try to get even more information out of people. Um, so it's annoying like with the Mr. Cooper situation. I keep bringing it up, right? But like I am getting so many texts and emails, like they have my phone number out there and I don't feel like changing my phone number because like your phone number is pretty much your social security number nowadays because you don't have to change it when you change states, right? Like your number is your number, so like it's tied to all of your SMS stuff, um, and your MFA and what have you. So you don't necessarily feel like changing that because you had to change so much. But at the end of the day, like now because of their breach, because of their mishandling of the situation, now I'm getting like finely crafted text. Like when I had a text, I showed it to my wife and my son. I was like, this is really good. Like I had like pictures in it. Like it's trying to sell me a credit card and come off as being authentic because it had so much open source information about me, right? Like it had like my name, uh, what else did it have? My name, my address. It didn't say like dear customer, it said dear Ryan, yada yada yada. And like it had like I've never seen such a pristine text message. It was like this is really good. If I wasn't super paranoid, they might have got me.
You know why that is now, right? Like AI makes it easier, right? It doesn't look like a
Yeah.
doesn't look like somebody in Africa that doesn't speak that speaks English as a third or fourth language is typing it up anymore, right? Like AI is going to make it easier for them to get at you like this and make it more believable. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. In a bad way. So I'd say like it's going to be very annoying for these people. You kind of want them to focus on their work since they do deal with such an important job. Whether because yeah, we joke about the nuclear codes and all that stuff, but like the people behind the scenes, like the support team is very important to such operations. You don't want them to be stressed out or concerned that their information is out there. Or like you said, the infighting. And that's what kind of happened at Sony when Sony was hacked way back in the day. They released salaries. And it caused contention amongst their employees. They found that in certain cases, like we know, men make more per dollar than women, but they saw a huge disparity at the time, which opened them up for suits and stuff like that as well. It's like why is she making so much less than he is in the same position? So it can cause drama in that regard. You just don't like I think that salaries should be transparent in general, but you just don't want to cause the infighting. So now all this stuff is out there, so it's not going to be good for them, unfortunately. So hopefully they get some really good lifelock or something. Like I don't know, it's already out there, so it's like this really no happy ending to the story. They're going to be very annoyed to have to change a lot of their information, emails, passwords, stuff like that, because of this breach. That's just it's really aggravating. So speaking it from a person who's doing it currently, it is very annoying. It's unnecessary stress. So there's that. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the future. Like this gang does this. This is like their MO. So I'm sure they're gonna do this to some others that'll pop up throughout next year, unless the Department of Justice gets in there and shuts them down. Hopefully, especially if you're messing with the Department of Energy. So like that, if you're going to target somebody, you shouldn't target somebody who has such a very specific function, right? Um, so we'll see how law enforcement takes care of that. But definitely hit us up throughout the week. So Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion. Um, uh, the discussion it has nothing to do with breaches this time around, so that's good. So definitely tune in for that one. And it's a pretty good story. And then Thursday we'll probably deal with breaches again. I'll probably do like the Oldsmar water plant or something like that, or the Colonial Pipeline. Put that one in throwback. And then Friday, everything else. So movies, books, games. We play some games, we watch some movies. So definitely tune in for all that good stuff. Hit us up at the website that goes by all the websites that go by our name. Give me a person at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. Stay safe, stay secure.